welcome everyone. Welcome to my stream. Nice. Welcome in to my daily mental health chat stream. My name is Doña, aka Doña the Light. And if you are catching me live here on Twitch, good morning, DJ. Please feel free to contribute to the conversation by talking it up in the chat. If you're catching this,
nobody's there.
I know, buddy. I just started. If you're catching the replay on YouTube, Shaka's first. If you're catching this replay on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please leave me a thumbs up.
Tell me if you're done, okay?
Okay, buddy. And leave me some of your thoughts in the comments. I'd really appreciate hearing them. Again, my name is Doña. I am your friendly neighborhood self-love coach. And my primary goal is to help... Thank you, Shaka. My primary goal is to help Black women transform and heal, going from being superwomen to being healed women. Today, we are going to discuss triggers and glimmers. And one of them I learned about very recently. Also, disclosure, my baby has a cough. Both my kids have coughs, so you might hear some baby coughs. What? Oh, okay. Might hear some baby coughs, and yeah. Trauma triggers versus trauma glimmers. Which do you have more of? And I think the better question is, which are you more aware of? Because I believe that we all have both. We definitely all have trauma triggers, right? So trauma triggers, good morning to all the majesticals. Good morning, Shaka. Thank you for being here. If anyone is interested in spiritual coaching or a super lovely, cozy vibe in a stream, Shaka is the one. My poor baby. I know, it's a lot. It's a lot. They read tarot. They're a spiritual coach. They're an incredible human being. If any of that interests you, please check out their stream. All of their other social media contacts are available on their Twitch page as well. So if you're interested, head on over. Today, as I mentioned, we're going to be speaking about trauma triggers and trauma glimmers. So a trauma trigger is any kind of sensory input that makes you feel unsafe. And it really could be anything. It could be a scent, it could be a sight, it could be a touch, it could be a taste, it could be anything that triggers your senses into feeling unsafe. Many of us kind of use this word willy-nilly, and a lot of us use it when we're just irritated, right? Sometimes we misuse this word as a way to describe what something our children has done, what something one of our children has done. For example, I guess that would still be a trigger. The example I was thinking of and I was going to share was, let's say that our child is constantly asking questions, as children often do, especially when they're a certain age. They just ask questions nonstop. Talking, speaking, asking, and all of these things. And we find it triggering because in our childhood, we were constantly being told to shut up. We were constantly being told, you talk too damn much. Why don't you go sit down somewhere? You know what I mean? We were being pushed out and pushed around because of the fact that we were speaking so much. So that definitely would still be a trigger. Technically, it would be an auditory trigger, because it's based on what we're hearing from our children. I feel like it's a little deeper than that. But yeah, that would technically be an auditory trigger. And it's important to know our triggers, because when we know our triggers, then we can address them. We can do something about them. And again, we want to ensure that these are the things that make us feel unsafe. So it might make us go into a fight, flight, or freeze. Right? Like when our child is constantly talking, it might make us really, really angry. really, really angry. Or it might make us just want to push them away, you know, just, or us escape or flight from the situation. We just remove ourselves. We don't even address what's happening. You know, we leave our children just in the dark, in the cold. They don't know what's going on. They don't know why we've just left, you know. Or it could cause us to freeze. You know, if those things are happening, then what you're experiencing is indeed a trauma trigger. You alright? Oof. Yeah. Still sleeping? Yeah. Again, when it comes to trauma triggers, or just triggers in general, this word has definitely been tossed around quite a bit, especially as of the last, I'd say 2 years or so, now that mental health is becoming a little more mainstream, a little bit more accessible to converse about, you know. It's still stigmatized as far as, so interesting. It's like, speaking about it, there's not as much of a stigma, but when you start pursuing things and taking action and doing things that you need to do to support your mental health, then it's like, do you really have it that bad? Is it really that bad? So it's unfortunate that, you know, people's situations are still being diminished, you know, even though they're clearly saying that, you know, they're experiencing something that they need support with. So, anywho, glimmers. And again, this is something I learned recently about from TikTok, but from a therapist that I was really, really excited about. Trauma glimmers. So trauma glimmers do the exact opposite of trauma triggers. Trauma glimmers are things that calm your nervous system, things that make you feel peaceful, perhaps even a bit joyful, you know? And I don't believe that people give the same attention to their glimmers as they do their triggers. I believe that people put a lot of energy into learning what their triggers are, taking steps to prevent them, you know, which is great. It's a wonderful thing to take steps to prevent the things that cause your nervous system to feel unsafe. That's deeply important, because an unsafe nervous system can lead to a lot of different things, and some of them definitely could make us feel like, oh, are you okay? Some of those things could make us feel like, you know, we're out of control. And that doesn't feel good, you know. It doesn't feel good to feel out of control, or to feel as though we don't know what's going to happen next, especially in our own body. Shaka says, I definitely can identify a few of both, but even my own therapist has focused more on triggers than anything. I hear you. And this wasn't even something that my therapist and I discussed. But Shaka, if you would like to share some of your glimmers in the chat, that would be very helpful, because I believe that most people do better when they can have examples of something. And so thank you, my love. I'm going to pull up, I'm going to pull up the TikTok that I just researched for. And this gal's name is Real Talk Therapist. Very simple. So this is where she discusses triggers and glimmers. You pop it in the chat. And then she also has another... Oops. Triggers and glimmers. And then she has another post where she shares... Here we go. That in the comments... Oh, I definitely pinned this. Oops, not the sound. In this post, she shares that in the comments, check the comments for examples of glimmers. Yeah, little baby, that's the truth. Just talking up the storm. But anyhow, when I think of trauma glimmers, the first one that comes to my mind is tapping. Ooh, some of my glimmers. Music, classical is number one. coloring, crocheting, and movies. I love that. I absolutely love that. And I could totally see how each of those could bring you back to a sense of calm. And it's interesting because it's like these activities are grounding, but sometimes being grounded doesn't mean you're peaceful necessarily. It could bring you to a sense of calm, but you still might feel a little flighty, or you still might be a little worried. You know, like you could definitely be calm and worried. That's a thing that can happen. So I really appreciate Shaka sharing some of their glimmers. Music is huge. I really don't think people fully understand the power of music. I mean, just take into account, yes, it gives a healthy, positive distraction. I need that a lot, especially when I'm anxious. I feel that. Healthy, positive distraction, yes. Which is essentially a coping mechanism, right? To help redirect some of that attention, redirect that energy into an outlet that is beneficial to you, you know, and beneficial to those around you. Because some might say that drinking is beneficial to them, but, you know, if we're talking about internally, it really isn't. Music. Anyone has ever been to a rave or just a concert? I'm going to say a rave because bass is huge in EDM music. And if you've ever just been in that crowd or been anywhere at a rave and you feel the bass resonating through your body, it's calming. That's the reason why. Good morning, Jonesy. Welcome in. That's the reason why singing bowls are so calming, because even as you're playing them, you know, even as you're going around the rim of the singing bowl, you can feel the vibration from the singing bowl resonating through your body. That vibration is calming, you know? That's the reason why we play our music so loud in our cars, because that's one of the environments that's the most easily accessible, to be completely surrounded by your sound, right? To be completely engulfed in the lyrics, the bass, the melody. Good morning, Jonesy. How are you feeling? You know, like being in your car is like, it's like your own personal little concert, you know? And I can think of a few tracks that I love to listen to, you know, on full blast in my car, because I can feel them, and it feels incredible to be able to feel them. Like that frequency going through our body, different frequencies going through our body, you know. And that's another reason why, like, breath work is huge, or practicing things like, what's it called? Okay. Hit that. I feel it. You got spit all over his face. He's like, I'll give you some of this slobber. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh.
Give me a kiss.
Ooh.
Give me a kiss.
Ooh. Look at his face. Good morning, Cal. Thank you for the lurk, my love. I'll see you later. Bass. I hope y'all are feeling great today. I'm feeling okay. This one's got a cough. That one's got a cough. My son, my other son. So I'm feeling okay. I'm just like waiting for it to come around. Huh?
They sure gave me the title of Vet Daddy yesterday.
Did they increase your pay?
I'm broke daddy.
Excuse me, we didn't get our kiss. Mwah. Kisses for you, Shaka. No, I'm talking about his kiss. Wow, thanks for the headbutt, little baby. Kisses for all. Kisses for all. Non-stop head movement. But yes, feeling bass music in your body. Oh, good little dude. He's definitely better than his cough was like a month ago. Just because he's older. Anywho. I keep getting distracted. Bass music, just music in general. Even classical music. Feeling that resonate through your body is so deeply healing. I mean, if y'all have ever tried breath work, my niece gets a cough all the time too, right? Like, you're just a brand new little human. I can't. But his brother is sick, or has a cough that just restarted. So, yes, classical hits different. It really does. I mean, just consider it's like you're inside of the instrument when you blast classical music, and it just feels amazing. It feels so good. So, if you're ever in need of a short exercise to bring some vibration into your life, and you aren't afraid of like looking or being weird, I guess you could say, you could do breath work, but on every exhale you could buzz like a bee. That's a really wonderful way. So you would sit wherever you're sitting, sit up nice and tall, and you inhale, and every exhale you would buzz. Until you run out of air, and repeat that process. And that's something that you can do alone, you can do with your children, you can do with whoever. But that buzzing of that letter Z is immaculate. It's wonderful. It's very calming. It's one of my favorites. I don't do it often enough. But in addition to breath work, I think of tapping as I think that's where I need to look at more examples too, because there's definitely a difference between a glimmer and a grounding exercise. You know, like, grounding exercises are made to bring me back down once I've gotten up there, you know, like once I'm in a situation or I feel myself and my nervous system escalating, that's when I would implement a glimmer, or that's what I would implement a grounding practice. Whereas a glimmer, I don't know, I feel like I would do a glimmer when I'm already kind of in a calm state. Like maybe a grounding exercise would create space for a glimmer, you know? Because I feel like I'd have to be calm, which, like I mentioned before, I can definitely be calm and worried. You know, that's a thing that I can be. I can be calm and a little anxious. So changing that energy, or rerouting that energy into something like Shaka described, coloring, crocheting, you know, a healthy, positive distraction, I believe that would happen more so when I'm already calm. So what are my glimmers? If tapping is a grounding practice, what is a glimmer of mine? I do enjoy going for walks. As of lately, it's been like a hit or miss because it's been so cold. But I do like going for walks. I like being outside. I like being anywhere where there's, you know, grass, bushes, trees. Mostly grass. Let me see. Let me go to that post, and I'm going to read some examples to help even give myself a better idea. All right. So the creator says, "Theirs are the sound of the ocean, pumpkin spice lattes, hearing her cat's purr." Okay. So, what are your glimmers? And then she said, "Glimmers basically calm down the amygdala, our brain's alarm system, and triggers activate it." Ooh, this person said, "Being told you're safe here. It's okay. It's okay. The smell of vanilla nights and freshly washed blankets and pulling my blankets up to my ears. That's beautiful. This person said drinking ginger ale from the can. Ooh. This person said last year I caught a whiff of a woman's lotion and was transported to preschool because my teacher used to use that same lotion. Ooh, this person said the whole movie Matilda is a glimmer for them. This person says driving at golden hour with my music really loud. This person says that thing you think when you're trying to call a Patronus from Harry Potter. Right, these comments are making me cry in a comforting way. This person said the smell of old books and sharpened pencils. I'm getting goosebumps. Trees swaying in the breeze and the taste of chicken soup. This person said when the sun hits your face and warms you up just the right amount. This person says cold and dark winter mornings when the cold hits your face and you have to stop and take it in. Reminds me of Christmas, every happiest memory. This person just says art. Art is their glimmer. This person says cutting apples and plums the way my grandma did and snacking on them while watching TV. This person said resting my head on someone's shoulder, hand holding, and sitting on the floor. Ooh, this person said the smell of my dog and the silence just before dawn. Someone reacting with patience instead of anger. Ooh, when someone says feel free to say no. When someone respects my wishes when I'm not watching. Wow. Oh, but why do I cry when I feel a glimmer? What is happening? Hold on. Why are you poking yourself in the eyeball? And then getting upset about it. Uh-oh, I see some boogers. Uh-oh. Ooh, you know, a glimmer of mine that is so tangible? Yoga. Yoga is an absolutely tangible glitter of mine. And when I say tangible, look at that booger in there. Let me get it. Okay. Are you hungry, by the way? Because I can totally feed you. Are you hungry? Let's try that. Yeah? Let's try that. Okay? Just hold on. But when I tell you that I melt into my yoga postures, I really need to take y'all through a yoga flow one day. My struggle is it's difficult to do it here in the office. It would have to be like an IRL stream with like my phone. Hold on, let me get Fuss Bucket situated real quick. I know, baby, I know. Are you hungry? But, I mean, practicing yoga, being on my yoga mat, closing my eyes, taking my glasses off. If I take my glasses off, it's over. Like, I am in there. Like, I am so inside of my mind and inside of my body and inside of my breath, so in tune, and I'm literally just moving in whichever way feels wonderful. Practicing yoga while either listening to like Alina Baraz or some lo-fi music like this, or like some Sam Smith, or what's that other guy's name? James Arthur. There are certain artists that I like to listen to. Justin Timberlake is one of them too. When I'm practicing yoga, Kumau, like there are just certain ones that I don't think you want this. Their music itself just resonates so deeply while I'm basically meditating on my mat. And if I could just do that for like 15 minutes uninterrupted, I feel so good. Like I want to cry. I feel so good. And I don't believe that I know for a fact that I don't, bless you, put enough effort and intention behind practicing yoga more often. even knowing how good it makes me feel, I constantly make excuses. And I believe that's really the biggest part in which triggers and glimmers differ. Because we're very intentional in avoiding the things that don't make us feel good, but we don't put that same energy or even equal amount of energy towards making time and creating space for the things that do make us feel good, you know? Because I know that I don't, and I could easily, honestly, practice yoga with the baby. Excuse me, all I have to do is put him on the floor next to me. And as long as he's fed, he's good because I'm right there, you know? And I could easily, how I like to say, just roll around on my yoga mat because I'm not doing anything specific. Like, I'm not doing like an Ashtanga flow or anything specific like that. I'm just existing on my mat and moving in a way. Every once in a while, you know, I'll try a posture that I haven't tried in a while just to see if I can. But for the most part, I'm just letting my body lead me to do whatever is going to feel good in that moment. And I believe that's really what we need to do, especially when it comes to our glimmers, you know? Like, if you know that you have a few, taking a moment to sit with yourself and say, you know, which of these would feel the best to me right now? You know, because you can't do all of them simultaneously. So, you know, which of these would feel the best for me right now? And I, you know, as reading these comments, it seems a lot of them are very specific, you know, like one person said, driving during the golden hour, you know, which is sunset, and blasting music. Like, that means you have to do it at that time of day. Otherwise, you know, it doesn't work because it's not the golden hour. You good, little dude? I want to read some more examples. But that's something to definitely dive into, you know. Why is it that we put... Why is it that we put so much energy and effort and intention behind avoiding discomfort, but not behind increasing comfort or inviting comfort or seeking comfort, you know? Like, I know that it connects back to, you know, how we were raised in our childhood, but now I'm thinking about myself personally, you know? Some of it has to do with just being aware. You know, I feel that depending on how we were raised and who raised us in the environment, we may be hyper aware of things that make other people uncomfortable. We might be hyper aware of the things that make our mom uncomfortable or our dad uncomfortable or whatever, because they're always talking about it, right? They're always talking about what they don't like, what makes them feel uncomfortable, you know, and misery loves company. So not only are they talking about it, but they're complaining about it. They're not just bringing it up, you know, in context of You're not just bringing it up in the context of, you know, wow, you know, this cold air makes me feel really uncomfortable. Like, that would be okay, direct, straightforward, you know, but they're bringing it up in like, man, I hate the cold. The cold is the reason why I can't blank. And if it wasn't so cold, I'd be able to blank. The way that Nova is just looking at you and listening is so pure. I wish I could show you. Oh, baby girl. I love my little Nova. She's such a sweetheart. I believe you, Jones. I could see her little face with her big, beautiful eyes that she got from Daddy. I could see it. But oh. Oh my goodness. What is this noise? Baby boo, I need you to keep the banana in your mouth. In your mouth. Jones, you tell me. What's a glimmer of yours? I challenge you to share. Like, I know that a glimmer of DJ's, something that makes him light up and calms his nervous system, is doing things with people that he loves. Like, if he invites me to play something with him, like his bowling game or the Wii, or I mean anything. I can't tell if you're hungry or if you're just being a fuss bucket. Like, you're eating, but that's what he really enjoys, you know. And he, you know, gets to decide when he's done and when it's over or whatever. But he really loves, really enjoys when he invites someone to do something with him and they say yes. That's you can see his whole, you know, his face light up. You can see everything just completely change. And sometimes I'll tell him, you know, I'll give him a time, because he does really good with, like, okay, buddy, we can do it at 9 a.m. or whatever. He's not the best with, like, later. He'll always ask you what time, which I think is really good, and I hope I can continue to encourage him to do that and illustrate that to him, that, you know, it's good to get a direct answer, because later may never come. But if you ask someone a time, then you know when you can follow up. Joan said family activities, movie nights was fun. That's very true. I got a lot. But I do know that to be true for you, Jonesy, that family stuff is very, like, payday. Right, like, why isn't payday glimmer? Payday's absolutely glimmer. I do know that about Jonesy, that, like, family time, genuine conversations, like, those are definitely glimmers for Jonesy. Those are his jam. I appreciate you sharing though, Jonesy. Those movie nights are amazing. I really need to get some headphones for my cell phone so that I can, well, some better ones, because the ones I have are trash, so that I can be in on those more often. But yeah, those movie nights are dope. They're definitely dope. Baby boy. Kyrie is going through it right now, y'all. Kyrie is experiencing, I'm not even sure. Like, do you want the banana or not? Oh my goodness. Anyhow, I keep getting distracted. If I sit down and I close my eyes, that's the only way that I can do this. If I sit down and I close my eyes and I ask myself, why don't I create space for my glimmers, like yoga, but I'm very intentional I'm very intentional about not responding to my triggers in a way that's damaging. Being aware of my triggers, but not responding in a way that's damaging. First thing that comes up is, I don't have time for yoga, and I have more important things to do. And I believe that's where it comes from, is we don't place a high enough value on the things that bring us peace and bring us comfort. But we place a very high amount of value on being comfortable, right? Because we'll go out of our way to avoid, I don't know why I'm talking about this spoon, y'all. We'll go out of our way to avoid discomfort, but we won't go out of our way to increase our comfort. We won't go out of our way to bring more comfort in, to make space for comfort, to do the things that we know bring us comfort and joy and happiness. We won't go out of our way, but we will go out of our way to avoid discomfort. And a part of that, I believe, just has to do with survival, you know? Sometimes discomfort feels like we're getting closer to death, which a lot of us naturally fear, which is totally reasonable. but we see the immediate consequence of allowing our triggers to take over, right? We're uncomfortable, we're stressed, and this is typically prolonged. Just a moment, y'all. These effects are typically prolonged. They're not just like a one and done type thing. But we don't give enough praise, attention, etc. to the positive consequences of making time for our glimmers. You know, like, there are tangible consequences to me practicing 15 minutes of yoga every day. I mean, I sleep better, my energy is better throughout the day, my mood is better throughout the day, and it feels good to have taken it upon myself to do something in which I put myself first. That mentally and spiritually and emotionally feels good. But that positive consequence is not as motivating as the uncomfortable consequence of allowing my triggers to take over. So I just, in my mind, I convince myself regularly that I don't have time or that it's not important. That's what I'm really saying, is that it's not important, because I can make time. I've done it before. I can do it again. And it ain't nothing to, like I said, make sure the baby is fed and roll out my yoga mat, put him down on the floor next to me, and do what I need to do to take care of my mind and my body. But instead, I've convinced myself that it's not important, that I am not important, that my needs are not important. And they are. They absolutely are. My needs are extremely important, because I'm the only one who can truly tend to them. I can't expect anybody else to tend to my needs. I can share with people so that they can support me in, you know, doing certain things, but I can't expect anyone else to tend to my needs. It's not fair. Plus, I'm the only one who actually knows specifically what they are, you know? Raylene is here. Welcome in, Raylene. Thank you for being here, love. I'm coming to deep realizations this stream about the stories that I tell myself. The story that I tell myself is that my glimmers and my happiness and increasing my comfort and peace and joy is not important. It's not important enough to make time for. It's not important enough to intentionally do each day. So perhaps that's what I need to do next, is I've been intentionally creating time for this stream every day since, I forgot which date. I can double check on my YouTube to see when I posted that first video that kind of began this streak. Ooh, and how will you change that story? Raylene, why are you challenging me, friend? I will change that story by moving in a more intentional manner. For example, right after these streams end, my typical process is to go onto Twitch, download the video, kind of get everything set up for the YouTube video so that I can upload it. But after that, you know, usually I'll go downstairs and I'll start breakfast for myself for DJ. It would require no extra effort on my part besides the intentionality to do whatever I do after stream, go downstairs, put the baby on the floor, roll out my yoga mat, and just exist in my yoga space for 15 to 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't require anything extra for me to do that. And I will start starting today, I will, even if I don't actually roll around, even if I just sit there and like give my hips some attention, or give my neck or my shoulders some attention, that sounds like an amazing change. Yes, I mean, even right now as I'm sitting here, I can feel the tension that's just sitting in my shoulders. It's just sitting there. Or it's more like my neck. It's like these muscles, like my traps and my, I forgot what other muscle that is. But I need to, because it makes such a huge difference. Like, I'm trying to verbalize the type of difference it makes. Raylene says, I'm holding you accountable. Next stream, you better give me the rundown of the stretches that you did. Absolutely. You know, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, and I absolutely will. And I will give you an illustrative, I'll give you an illustrative example or an illustrative summary of the postures that I did, because I need it. You know, I'm constantly moving around this house and doing everything for my children. But I'm the first person to tell my clients, you know, you have to be intentional about the things you do for yourself. And I'm very proud of myself, as I've mentioned before, for continuing this stream, this daily stream, because it's something that I kept telling myself that I didn't have time for. That just wasn't going to be possible, you know? Like, how am I supposed to have a daily stream when I have 2 children in the house, you know, and my son goes to school online, you know, and my baby is only 4 months old? How am I supposed to have a daily stream, you know? How am I supposed to have a consistent stream schedule is what I used to tell myself, or ask myself. And it wasn't until I just sat down and did it. And, you know, Raylene can attest to it, Jones can attest to it, Shaka can attest to it, DJ be in here, you know, he just be in the stream. And sometimes I lose my train of thought, but there's no reason why I have to do things perfectly, or there's no reason why I have to try to put on the front that I'm doing things perfectly, right? There's no reason why I have to try to only stream when it's going to be completely quiet, because that's not life, you know, it's not reality. And it wouldn't even make sense for me to ask my mom to come over every single time I want to stream just so I could stream in silence, because the reality is it's not that important, you know? It doesn't take away from the stream. It doesn't take away from the conversation that I'm having with y'all. And if it ever gets to a point where, you know, DJ's asking too many questions, or he's just being, I'll just say, interrupting too much, then I can ask him, you know, to go to a different room or do something else, etc., etc. But I believe the desire to want to be perceived as perfect, not perfect, but just good, you know, and imposter syndrome starts trickling in a little bit, you know, because now we're comparing, right? We're comparing it to the previous, or the other YouTube videos that I've watched, which I don't watch that many. Most of them are like TED Talks. So of course they're in an uninterrupted environment because they're on a stage. And those videos are edited, you know? I don't edit any of my videos. But I don't realize, or what I'm sort of realizing now, is the power of that, you know? What if we did see more people on YouTube just creating videos with their children just in the background, you know, hearing them converse with their children, etc., etc. Not necessarily the ones where the children are like unboxing toys and stuff, but, you know, just existing. Raylene says, exactly, I'm so proud of you for doing streams like this and showing your family with your little baby. It's real and nothing can beat that. Exactly. You know, and that wasn't my intention going in. I just kind of did it. I just kind of did it, and I figured, you know, I really thought like, no, DJ will be asleep for most of the time. And no, he's not asleep. We all can see that he ain't asleep, which is fine. You know, it works out totally fine. Baby boy's falling back asleep. But yeah, so here I am sort of paving the way for other people to move in this way and to see an example of just, you know, creating a YouTube video with your life embedded into it. And just like Really mentioned, I'm very proud of myself for continuing to do this, even on the days where I think, oh my goodness, I don't know what to talk about, I don't have a topic. And I'll just grab something out of the air, and then you wonderful people come into the chat and give me your thoughts and share your opinions, and it just enriches the conversation, and everything is wonderful because we're doing this together. I'm not here to do this on my own. As I mentioned previously, I'm working to become more interdependent every single day, a little bit more. Raylene says, yes, just normal daily life. Exactly. It's so refreshing to see, and on top of that, you give such incredible focused advice. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Raylene. That's my goal, is just to at least stay focused. And I feel literally blessed to find this channel. Oh, Raylene. I appreciate you so much, seriously, for being here, for sharing the way that you've shared. You've opened up so much and been so transparent about your experiences, especially with therapy. And it's just incredible. This week, actually, I will have 2 psychologists on my stream. So I have a friend of mine who I've known since I was, 7 or 8 years old. Her name is Diana Robinson, and she's studying clinical psychology. And she's working on getting an internship out here in California. Yes. And she wants to work for the VA, or with the VA. So she's going the clinical psychology route. She'll be on my stream tomorrow. Yeah, she'll be on my stream tomorrow. We're going to choose a topic to discuss. And then my cousin, actual cousin, is going to be on the stream on Thursday. She also has a degree in psychology. She didn't go the clinical route. She just went I'm not sure what it's called, but she has a degree in psychology, and we're going to be discussing something as well on Thursday. So that's going to be incredible, But my cousin was telling me, that's where I was going. My cousin was telling me that she would like to write down some points and things like that. Yes, I'm so excited. My cousin was telling me that she wanted to write down some points around the topic that we wanted to discuss. And I said, oh, I never do that. And she said, seriously? And I said, yeah, I just kind of speak. And she said, well, if I don't write down points, I'm prone to go off on tangents. And I said, tangents are great. Tangents are what happens when someone shares something in the chat and we go on to something else. Like we had a chatter talk about the voices that they heard. And that was completely unrelated to the topic that we were discussing that day, but everybody in the chat kind of, rallied around him, and we just talked about it. Because that's definitely a mental health conversation, and even if it's not, there's still things that people kind of need to hear, and it's just the way the conversation organically transitioned. But yes, everything says, yep, we love the tangents. Exactly. We absolutely love the tangents. The tangents are helpful. And, our minds typically work like that in tangents, where we will be focused on one thing, and then all of a sudden we're thrown into something else, or we make some sort of connection from one thing to another. Then that's typically how the tangents happen, and we're totally okay with tangents. Tangents are great. Usually the reason why I have this frame or scene, sometimes I use that to remind myself what I'm talking about, what I'm supposed to be talking about, triggers versus glimmers, and, which you have more of. But I wasn't expecting to come out of this conversation realizing for myself that the glimmer that I love the most, that makes me feel so wonderful, I am not creating time for. I wasn't expecting that at all. My goal or my intention behind today's conversation was just to, educate people on triggers and glimmers. Have, of course, some people share if they felt inclined to do so. But I wasn't expecting to come away, learning about myself, that I need to create time and space for my own glimmers, because calming my nervous system is extremely important, especially as a mom, making sure that I can move and operate in a way that is conducive to myself and my children, and also not making things more difficult for myself, because being in a constant state of being on, being aware, listening out, um, being proactive and things like that can be stressful, and it could potentially lead to some triggers happening, or some triggers being seen or coming aware of, or something like that. So that's something that I have to be very intentional about. In addition, I have to remember that I am an example, and not to say that being an example is something that is like a burden, but it's good for my children to see, me doing things other than just caring for them. Because I never saw that with my mom. All I saw my mom do was care for us and work. That was it. I never got to see her care for herself, ever. My mom used to crochet. She used to crochet a lot. She used to make pillowcases and blankets and all this stuff. And I wonder if I invite her to start that again, if she'd be down. Raylene said, it's so great that any point in your life you're in, you can always improve on something. Even with you, I can tell you're very self-aware and have made such progress in your life. Thank you, Raylene. You're so kind. You seriously are. And that's what I love about it too, that our healing journeys they never end. They just mature and transform and grow just like we do, because new situations bring new things to heal from. In addition, new situations may bring to our view, so to say, the things that we see in other people that are healed, and we connect the dots and say, wow, that'd be a really effective way for me to do blank. Just reminding us once again that we aren't in this alone. We don't have to do this alone. We're not meant to do things alone. We're not. In any situation in life, I can absolutely share how other people are connected. People love being praised for doing it all on their own, but yeah, and thinking about showing self-love to your children is so wonderful too. So many green flags. Yes, that's a whole other conversation that we could have. Green flags. We don't speak about green flags enough. Green flags in friendship, green flags in parenthood, green flags in childhood, because even if we're adults, we are still someone's child. It's like I'm still my mother's child, even though I'm an adult. That doesn't change the fact that I'm her child. But yeah, yes. And he says, yep, that's true. Yeah, there's just so many things, and having these conversations, even if I feel like I'm speaking to myself, or even if it's just me and Raylene speaking back and forth, helps to bring up a lot of different things that are important, or that haven't gotten spoken about before, or that I haven't necessarily found a direct solution to, or whatever. So I'm just really grateful for this platform, because it's wonderful to be here, point blank period. It's wonderful to be able to get in front of this webcam, hop on the internet, and have conversations with people who genuinely want to have them. The beautiful thing is, rarely have I ever on any of my platforms really gotten trolls. Typically everyone that pops up genuinely wants to be here. Joan said it's been the highlight of everyone's morning. Oh, I can't make a heart because my other hand's holding the baby, but thank you, Jonesy. It's been the highlight of my mornings too. It really, really has. But I have to remember that there's a part of me that needs to treat myself like one of my clients. Encouraging and creating a tangible plan towards adding more glimmers into my day. If I know that I have a glimmer that benefits me so much, that I can actually say, like I said, I'm on the verge of tears with how much I love yoga, and it really wasn't until, because I'm gonna tell y'all a story. The year was I don't know, 2012 or 13. I graduated my first college degree in 2013. And I began working for this woman as a caregiver. And all I was doing was driving her to her chemotherapy appointments because she had a cancer called multiple myeloma, and she was a paraplegic. She had no movement in her legs. Long story short, I began practicing yoga in her house. When I began practicing yoga, my yoga was all about what people think of when they think of yoga, which is just the physical aspect of it. There are 8 limbs of yoga. And the word yoga means to yoke, which is to bring together. So the physical practice of yoga is called asana. When I first began practicing asanas, however you like to pronounce it, because it's a Sanskrit word, my whole focus was to look as attractive as possible and to be as bendy as possible. That was it. And I was pretty bendy. I was pretty damn bendy. I could probably find some old Instagram posts of myself because I was doing the damn thing. I was bendy. But I completely ignored, I didn't even look into the other limbs of yoga. Now fast forward to 2020. I believe it was 2020. Stories, tiny post archive. I believe it was 2020 because it was definitely COVID time. And I took a yoga teacher training. It was specifically for Black people, which was incredible. There were over 300 of us. And the training was, I paid $25 for a 200-hour yoga teacher training. Now, if you look up yoga teacher trainings, typically they're a couple $1,000s. But the goal for the training was to create more Black yoga teachers and also to create more accessibility behind yoga teacher trainings because they're deeply inaccessible because they're so expensive. So expensive. So I took that yoga teacher training, and when I tell y'all, I cried so much during that yoga teacher training, just really building a connection between my physical practice and my mental practice, my spiritual practice. The way that yoga makes you feel, the way that moving your body in line with your breath makes you feel, what that does for you on a cellular level. Because, increasing oxygen in your body is huge. That's deeply powerful. And that alone was something that I had never considered. Like I said, literally I was practicing yoga because it was trendy at the time, And pretty much everybody that I followed on Instagram that practiced yoga was doing the same thing. They were just doing what looked good, which was cool, dandy, and even still, if you look up yoga on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, most people are just doing postures that make them look good. Or they're taking you through flows. Sometimes they're taking you through flows that make you feel good. The really great ones are the ones that incorporate a short meditation before and a short meditation after. Raylene says, literally everyone who's similar to me in mindset and further along in my life has recommended yoga, and now I see why. Yes. And now I have my topic for tomorrow. We're going to talk about yoga. And I'm going to share with y'all, the progress of my yoga journey. Because I've been practicing for years. But it wasn't until just a couple years ago that I, fully embodied yoga. When was this? This was January 2026. Or 2026. 2016. January 2016. Okay, so I got pregnant with my son later this year. And can y'all see that? It is so not. I don't know how to make it focus. But I'm super bendy. I'll probably just pull up my Instagram on here to make it easier to see. But I was doing all kind of bendy things, and that was my focus. What I do appreciate about myself at that time was I was practicing yoga a lot, but I wasn't doing it well. I wasn't warming up properly. Sometimes I would just do some little something and then try and pop into some super difficult posture. Raylene says, I wish things were more explained in full details. Like, I didn't know there were 8 limbs of yoga. What? Same with special therapists or specialist therapists. I guess this is what happens. I learned stuff on my own on YouTube. No. I mean, YouTube is a great resource. YouTube University is a whole thing. But I mean, if you don't know what to search for, like if you don't know to search for 8 limbs of yoga, you would never know. But we will absolutely talk about it tomorrow, and I will educate y'all. But again, in a lot of these situations, I wasn't honoring my body. I actually pulled a muscle doing a yoga pose. I pulled a hamstring muscle because I was trying to execute this posture. Yeah, I was doing the damn thing. It was a lot. I mean, I'm looking at these postures and I'm looking at my wheel and just how like small I had gotten. My goal was to, and this is when my hair was short again. This was 2015. Yeah, I pulled a hamstring. Like, I'm trying to see how I can do it with the light. But like my hands are pretty close to my feet. And I really didn't have any reason to be that bendy. I didn't have any real purpose behind it. And like I said, I commend myself on the fact that I did it often, but I wasn't treating my body properly. I wasn't warming up well. I would just go downstairs or go wherever, because some of these photos are like at my mom's house, and I would just pop into this pose, which wasn't as bad because I was moving my body pretty often. But proper warm-up, I mean, not only for your body but for your mind, to move yourself and get yourself into that mindset. It's just different. It's very different. Now I'm like reminiscing and looking at all my yoga poses, looking at all my different hairstyles. Because this is when I really started like doing my hair and stuff. It's so funny. Anywho, we will absolutely dive into the 8 limbs of yoga tomorrow. I'd be happy to share. Oh yeah, of course. I'd be honored to share everything that I've learned. Aileen says warm up is so important. I always forget, and I understand why, because sometimes you're so excited to get into that higher. Exactly, right? But what's driving that excitement to get into that difficult posture? Most of the time is so I could take a picture of me in that difficult posture and show it off and say, look world, look what I can do, right? So it was ego that was driving me. It wasn't, being proud of myself or practicing to a point where I could now access this posture. Because the truth is, you could do sun salutations for your entire career of yoga and you'd still be a yogi. It's not about the difficult postures. The difficult postures are really there for everyone else. It's really there for you to show off to everyone else. But, okay, as I said, I'm going to put baby down. Yep, I'm putting down. I'm going to unroll my mat. I'm going to do some yoga. Wheeling says that'll be a great topic tomorrow. Absolutely. But I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna go do some yoga. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know if y'all can see it, but I got a pimple on my forehead. And it's like one of the ones that hurts. Like, I haven't had a pimple in probably like a year. But it hurts. It hurts. Anyways. Thank you all for stopping in, for being here. Thank you, Raylene. I absolutely will. Absolutely will. I won't be taking any pictures because then I know I'm just going to be doing extra stuff for no reason. But I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Oh, I hope it goes away soon. It will. It's just, if I like move my face around, I can feel it. It feels so weird. But I love you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful day. Raylene, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening. I'm going to whisper you just to check in on you because I don't have any other way to contact you yet. So we can continue our conversation a little bit today. And to everyone else, I love you deeply. You are loved. You are important. You are an incredible being just as you are, even without anything that you've done or accomplished. You are highly valuable. Alrighty. Oh wait, I'm getting a call. No worries, love. You can take your time to respond once I whisper you. If you're catching this replay on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I create these streams, post these streams every single day. I'm live on Twitch between 7 and 7:30 a.m. Pacific, which is between 9 and 9:30 Central, and between 10 and 10:30 Eastern. Your subscription is a really great way to help to support my channel, and it's free. So I appreciate you. And while you're at it, check out some of my other videos, leave some comments. If you're interested in coaching with me, if you're interested in coaching with me, I created a command because I kept forgetting to do so. There's my coaching link if you're interested in coaching with me. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, there is the link there. And I love you. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.